Good morning. This is Chris Woodside with the National Association for Music Education, coming to you from our Reston headquarters. Last night, the federal government's inability to reach agreement on a spending deal that would have kept the lights on and doors open in Congress resulted in a midnight shutdown of all non-essential government services. For the first time in 17 years, since the days of President Clinton and Speaker Gingrich, Congress has failed to fund the federal government. The last time that this happened, way back in 1996, it took Congress almost a month to get its act together and pass a compromised budget. Let's talk about the big picture education fallout from the shutdown. Countless government agencies and programs will be impacted by the shutdown, including the U.S. Department of Education, the focus of our discussion today. All told, roughly 90% of the department's 4,000+ employees will be furloughed immediately, with most not scheduled to return until the shutdown crisis is resolved. The majority of schools and universities won't actually feel any immediate impact from the shutdown and may survive it unscathed if the crisis is resolved quickly. The longer the shutdown drags on, however, the more damage it will do with regard to students and schools waiting on federal funds. Let's talk about the shutdown in the short term. As stated, the department will immediately furlough almost its entire staff. Only a skeleton staff will remain. $22 billion in formula funding already allocated to the states for FY 2013 will continue to flow under Titles 1 and 2, IDEA, and Career and Technical Education. Race to the Top, Investing in Innovation, or I3, and Promised Neighborhoods will lapse for at least 1 week. No other grant programs will be able to incur obligations until the government reopens. Pell Grants and student loans will continue to be dispersed. However, campus-based programs such as the Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant and Federal Work Study will not. The Department of Health and Human Services will also not be making any new Head Start grants. Let's talk about the fallout from a shutdown in the long run. Eventually, a select few department employees, perhaps a couple dozen at most, will return to work. Most will work on funding that has already been appropriated. Significant delays will be a major issue with regard to processing applications for competitive and formula grants. Lack of staff will become the main problem. A significantly longer shutdown will make it far more difficult for school districts and institutions of higher learning to have cash on hand. Now let's discuss what the shutdown means in summary. While a short-term shutdown of the federal government is extremely frustrating and damaging, a long-term closure would be far more devastating and is what K-12 and higher education advocates are most worried about. As teachers, this should be your biggest concern as well. So what can music educators do in light of the shutdown? We have a very important call to action for our members today. Certainly, we can all agree that a federal government shutdown is no good at all for anyone, certainly not students that rely on a variety of department and congressional resources so as to ensure that they receive a comprehensive education that includes sequential, standards-based music education. To that end, we ask that you please follow the link that appears on your screen, locate your member of Congress by name and district, and reach out to them about the shutdown. Tell them to get back to work, to fund the federal government and ensure that education resources are meeting the needs of students across the country. If you are interested in receiving more information about the shutdown, the best strategy for coping with the current state of affairs is to prepare yourself with as many resources as possible. To that end, please visit the Department of Education's website and access the department's shutdown plan on your screen now. There you'll find additional resources on what the shutdown means for you and for other teachers and students across the country. Thank you very much for your interest in this important issue and for orchestrating success all across America.